Hello and welcome into this week's edition of Intercollegiate Conversations, as we're pleased to be joined by this week's guest, Paul Bubb, the Director of Intercollegiate Athletics at Western Illinois University. He's been in that role for the last 3 years. Paul, appreciate the time. Let's start off with your origin story. I know that you first started out as a college basketball coach, if I remember correctly. Now you're an athletic director. So just try to take us through that journey. How did you begin in college athletics, and how has it led you to the role you're currently in?
Yeah, Luke, I feel fortunate. I really was blessed with opportunities in early on because after graduating, I spent 1 year coaching high school ball, but I had a chance to go back to my alma mater and work in the student service area, and at the same time serve as the assistant basketball coach at Monmouth College, a small Division III school here in the state of Illinois. And the coaching was rewarding and everything, and I also worked both in student services, and then I started running the alumni program at the school, and I was involved in fundraising. And I really had a desire to get to the Division I level of athletics, the highest level of amateur athletics, and thought about the coaching route and how that would be. And had a young family at the time, and to be a graduate assistant, and then a volunteer assistant, then an unpaid assistant before you could really get your foot in the door didn't seem like the pathway. And I started seeing some opportunities for athletic development and athletic fundraisers at the Division I level, and was fortunate enough to become the first athletic fundraiser at SIU Carbondale back in 1985. And that's when my career got started, and was fortunate to work with two of the really best people in the industry, I felt like, over the time as my mentors. Jim Livengood, who went on to become athletic director at Washington State and then Arizona, as well as Charlotte West, who was a true pioneer with women's athletics, the old AIAW, and then, of course, with women making the transition to the NCAA ranks. But feel fortunate to have had those two to mentor me, and my career just went from there. So, but it's been a good. I have to say it's been rewarding, and I've enjoyed living in a number of parts of the country. I've been coast to coast and grew up in the Midwest, but I was in California and I've been in Maine, and have never been someplace that I didn't enjoy. I'll say that.
Yeah, which is great. And it's been a long career for you. I'm sure you've seen many changes in college athletics from when you first started to where we are today. Obviously, college sports fans know in recent years about NIL, transfer portal, all that sort of stuff. But if you look back at the course of your career, and I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot because there's a lot I'm sure you could go back to, but what stands out as maybe the biggest change in college athletics from when you first started and got into where we are today?
Well, NIL. I mean, paying college athletes. I mean, we were paying them back then, but it was a scholarship and a full ride, and those types of benefits that went with it. And for me, who I wasn't fortunate enough to have the talent to play at the Division I level, I was fortunate enough to play Division III football and basketball, and I enjoyed it. I had college loans that I've paid back coming out of it. And to me, when we were involved with Division I athletics, or even a couple stop ahead at Division II, I really felt like, gosh, full scholarship. They're going to graduate with a degree, have had the opportunity to play college athletics, the highest level of amateur athletics, and then go on with whatever the career fields they were choosing. I thought that was a real reward. But today, that doesn't even begin the discussion. And just got off a call where we're talking about uh, where, as a conference, we're going to be in terms of establishing some base levels that we would probably be looking at in terms of what it takes to be competitive in today's market. So the whole idea of and again, please know that I believe that students have rights and should be rewarded. I think that the old scholarship program could have been revamped, but I think that it has definitely swung way to a different direction right now. And I think everyone in college athletics is waiting and looking for when it's going to come back and balance out. And I don't know that I'll see that in my career, to be quite honest, because I think it's a longer process. than what I see in my future. But that's been the biggest change. It really has. And that it, the portal and the NIL, the portal being able to transfer and not feel a loyalty to a school, but feel a loyalty to whoever's going to pay you the most. So those two go hand in hand in terms of the changes that have really been drastic. And then even talking with coaches about what used to be illegal to do 10 years ago, that would get you, sanctioned by the NCAA, contact with student athletes at different periods of times, agents contacting student athletes on behalf of other institutions. That whole process has just really, really changed.
What's something that throughout your career you've learned over the years that maybe you wish you knew when you were first starting out and could serve as advice to those that are just getting into the industry now for the first time?
It's interesting because I had a colleague that thought he was ready to be an AD, and he said, "You don't really know until you sit in the chair." And that's so true. I mean, I some of the experiences I've had, people have said you need to write a book, and I probably any athletic director in the country could write a book about unique experiences they've encountered. Um, I think probably the biggest thing that I would say, and certainly as I've gone through what we're going through now with NIL, I've tried to be patient and understand what's going on around me, but not being quick to jump. Now, some people will say, well, that's left you behind in what's going on. And I don't know that it has. I think that there's a time you have to take action, you have to make that move. But I think that exerting some patience and observing to start out with probably makes a lot more sense than trying to be always on the lead of everything that's going on. I think we can learn from some people that are jumping in with both feet, and that's been an approach, and I probably would share that. I know I'm going to have colleagues that say, you're either getting ahead or falling behind. There is no such thing as status quo, and I do agree with that. But how and when you jump into a situation, I think you have to be careful.
Let me give you a chance here to give the elevator pitch, if you will, for your athletic department, your programs there, your school. What makes Western Illinois unique? What makes it special in your time there?
I think it starts with our nickname and our history. You go back over the years, and the fact that we're able to use a military nickname. We're the only school in the United States that's not military, that has a nickname that is military. Leathernecks refers to the Marines, and that. And I feel that fortunate that years ago, a gentleman by the name of Ray Rock Hansen, who was a Marine and became the athletic director here, got permission for us to use that. And I think we truly are a blue collar enterprise. West Central Illinois has always been referred to as Forgotonia, as an area, a part of the state that may not get the attention that, let's face it, when you have Chicago in your state, that's where a lot of the funds and resources go. That's where a lot of the attention goes. But West Central Illinois, Western Illinois University, we are in a rural community, but we have something that appeals to students that don't want to be in the middle of busy hustling time. They want to be able to step off the court and relax a little bit and enjoy what's going on around them. And I think that Western Illinois University has always been able to offer that. But again, a true blue collar, I think we look at it that way, underfunded, or maybe not all the funding that our colleagues have had, but been able to achieve good things with our programs. We were a founding member of the Mid-Continent Conference, that later became the Summit League. Certainly, we've moved on to the Ohio Valley Conference now, where we feel like we're in with peer institutions and able to be competitive. But a broad-based athletic program in a area that's very scenic, very quiet, and offers a lifestyle to a number of student athletes that finds that rewarding. And that's what we've always strive to be, and I think we've achieved that.
You touched on earlier the different schools that you've worked with over the course of your career. what would you say are some qualities as advice for others to look for in a school, in a work environment to know that's the right fit for me. I should go work with this school or with this athletic department.
I think it starts with your partner, with in my case, my wife, and having from day one in our marriage an understanding that if there's an opportunity that comes up that presents itself for career advancement, are we willing to go there in that? And certainly having her input in areas that she did not want to go to certainly led me to not worry about applying for jobs in those areas. But other areas, I can't say that my wife and I have ever lived anywhere that we regret living. We've always enjoyed the different things that are brought, each different community has brought to the table that we've been able to participate in. I still stay in contact with people, whether it was from the University of Maine or Cal State Northridge, Boise State or Murray State. And people that you meet along the lines, the relationships that you build. And that's what I think our careers are about as athletic directors. It's building those relationships. And that rolls over into my personal life as well. Being in athletics is a lifestyle. It's not a job, it's a lifestyle. And those are the things that my wife and I have always enjoyed, and the people that have made it special. And I feel so fortunate. Growing up in the Midwest, I'd never experienced the sport of men's volleyball. And when I got to the West Coast to experience that at the highest level, Cal State Northridge, coached by the name of John Price out there, really had things rocking and rolling. And I think it was our third or fourth year with the Northridge. We lose to UCLA in the national championship. Cal State Northridge, they made the move from Division II to Division I in 1990. Bob Hegert, the athletic director at the time, had the foresight to make that move and to make that happen. And it was a great thing. And to experience that, we had a softball program, again, 4 years into the move to Division I, that played for the national championship against Arizona in 1994, following a big earthquake that had hit the Northridge area. We were fortunate to be able to even play that year, but to play for a national championship. Then I go to Maine, and I'd never experienced college hockey before. I'd never been in that environment. And to go into the Alfond Arena, and my first hockey game was Maine against Boston College. Sellout, standing room crowd. I'd never seen that much excitement around that sport, and feel fortunate again. We go to the Frozen Four both years that I'm there, and hockey was certainly at its peak at Maine at that time. So baseball, going to postseason play, never experienced the College World Series. I would love to do that. FCF football playoffs, I absolutely love, and have had the opportunity to do that. Going to the basketball tournament, Murray State, knocking off Vanderbilt in a first round game in San Jose. Those are all things that I look back on, and I feel so fortunate that my career, I've been able to enjoy those things. But again, it's a lifestyle, and those are some of the best memories that I'll always cherish. So,
I could imagine. You mentioned relationships there. How important is networking when it comes to working in college athletics?
uh, I think men, women, doesn't matter who you are. You need to have a network. You need to have a group that you can call upon for advice. Even maybe it's not so much of helping them helping you get a job, but them helping you with your career, and sharing situations with them and how would you handle, and learning from that. But I feel fortunate that, again, I've had good people that I've known, and people have been able to connect me with others within job situations. Um, so it's good. I think the professional opportunities that you have through NACTA are extremely important. And I think anytime that you can involve with the NCAA committee work, that's also critical as well. And I think those lead to relationships that you can establish, that they may hear about a job that's opening that they think you're be a good fit for, and that. So I do believe the network is important, and I also believe mentors is critical in our careers.
Leads me to my next question. Over the course of your career, have you noticed, maybe even in recent years, because we hear about this a lot, have you noticed a change in the hiring process or the pool of candidates, or even maybe the number of candidates when it comes to the openings in college athletics? Have you seen a big change in the whole hiring process lately?
I don't know that I can say I've seen a change in the process. And I'll be honest, I'm old school. I really believe that I'm being paid a salary to hire, train, and mentor coaches. And if there's a change that I've seen, it might be the use of third-party uh, consultants to develop the pool of candidates for you. I do believe that there are some advantages to that. There's no question, and at certain levels. But again, I also believe that I'm hired to do a job here, and part of my job is to hire people. So I would say the hiring process is one of the areas that I've seen change over the years in this profession. And I I don't have a feeling that one way is better than another way. I know that I feel like my way works. It involves uh, looking for and going out and seeking candidates, getting people to apply. I'm not one that believes in just sitting back. I believe you have to be proactive. But I believe we process we run through our own university works, and we'll continue to do that. So, but I would say the use of consultants over the last 20 years really has really continued to grow.
Before I let you go, I do want to ask about Intercollegiate. We are pleased to partner with Western Illinois University here at Intercollegiate. When it comes to the platform, what would interest you or excite you the most about having the ability to use, Intercollegiate here moving forward?
I think technology has changed. That's probably the thing that has changed more than anything else. You asked me about that in the previous question, and I think the technology that's available and the resources that are out there for college athletics to take advantage of through intercollegiate, through other sources that they want to look at. But I think that the technology and the ability to gain information in a heartbeat has made changes. Where it used to be pick up the phone and call somebody. Now we can get on and we have the resources there and the data that's available that is able to be shared through intercollegiate has certainly made a change in the way that we do things and the way we do conduct our businesses. That probably, when you ask that question, that's probably the one that, as I think back, that has been probably the biggest change in the business is the use of data and the availability of data for us to compare and look at what our colleagues are doing at sister institutions.
Before I let you go, we always end on this question, maybe putting you on the spot here to finish it off. But I always ask our guests, what's the best piece of advice you think you've ever been given that you apply pretty frequently here to the job of your career?
I don't know that I always apply it the best way that I should, but the one piece of advice, and I share this with a number of people, sometimes being number two isn't a bad place. And I think for people that are starting in their careers, there's 365 Division I athletic directors, but there's probably close to 900 people that serve right below those positions and have an extremely valuable role that they play. And I think that that piece of advice has served me well. I've stepped back from an athletic director's position before and served, and I actually enjoy being in that spot because there's a lot less pressure there, and I think that people can actually grow quite a bit in those capacities. So while there's a finite number of positions, if you want to lead a department, don't don't undersell the role that deputy athletic directors play, that senior associate athletic directors play. There's valuable positions that people are needed in, and hope that they'll be open to that.
A big thank you to this week's guest, Paul Bubb, the Director of Intercollegiate Athletics at Western Illinois University. Also, a big thank you to you as well for taking the time out to watch this video. We suggest that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any future content or intercollegiate conversations, which are released every Monday. Also, feel free to follow us on all social media platforms out there for additional content as well. Find us at Intercollegiate on all social media platforms. We also suggest that you check out intercollegiate.co. It's the most comprehensive job board in college athletics. And if you already work in college athletics, feel free to claim your free profile to unlock all sorts of great benefits for yourself. Until next time, life's just a series of hellos and goodbyes. So for now, we say goodbye.